for something completely different.
Well, hi there. That's the beginning of Monty Python's movie, and now for something completely different. And if you don't know Monty Python, they're a classic sketch comedy troupe, and they're known for their absurdist or surrealist humor and sketches, often that have very little to do with one another within a given show or a given movie. And so the joke is like a newscaster saying between stories, and now for something completely different, right? So that's funny, maybe to you, if it's a sketch comedy show, right? But it's not a really great way to transition during your speeches. And so in this video, I want to talk a bit about what the textbook calls connectives. And in particular, I want to dig into one type of connective, transitions, and show you how I'd like you to use them in speeches 2 and 3. So here's the rubric for speech number 2, and I'm also asking for transitions in speech number 3, so this will appear on that rubric as well. I've just added color here for your benefit. This describes what I'm looking for here. Clear transitions, concise, well written, executed well, and they should be between all the major parts of the speech. And I'm going to show you in a little bit where they should go. And they should either smoothly recap the section and preview the next section. So there's 2 sections on each side. It's going to review and then preview, connecting them, or use some other functional transition style, I'm calling it. And I'm going to show you several different functional transition styles at the end of this video. So just know that I am grading them, and that you should craft them, you should practice them in rehearsal, and you should try to use them during your speeches. All right, let's turn now to what the textbook has to say, and this will likely help you with the upcoming quiz. The textbook calls any statement in your speech that connects one part of the speech to another a connective, right? And they're important because they're going to help your audience navigate their way through the speech and remember important information, key information. So you can use these throughout your speeches. I'm assigning you to use transitions, but you can use these other things as well. In the conclusion of your speech, of course, I'm assigning you to do an internal summary that you see here, but you can use internal summaries at other parts of your speech. What those do is they just review what you just said, or they state what you just said in a different way, a handy way, a memorable way. They offer a review of that information. Same thing with an internal preview. I've assigned an internal preview for you in the introduction, of course, but you can use internal previewing throughout the speech, and that just lets your audience know what's coming in the speech. I'm going to talk more about transitions in just a second. The last type of connective that's discussed in the textbook and that you can use throughout your speech is called a signpost. And a signpost is usually just like a short, quick word. First, next, lastly, first, second, third. And they just give a quick orientation to the audience. Maybe you have 3 examples you want to give really quickly. First, second, third. Okay. Use those throughout your speech to help the audience follow along. Okay. Let's take a look at transitions now. And I first want to look at where the transitions go in the outline. And this is the sample student outline for speech number 2, which you can find at the very top of the module's speech 2 assignment instructions. I'm going to go to the top here, and this is the top of it, the introduction. And the first transition will come right after the introduction, and notice it's labeled transition. Let's begin by first looking at. Okay, so it's going to be an ordering transition. Here is main point number 1 of the sample student speech, and the second transition will then become between the main points of the body of the speech. In this case, this speech has 3 main points, but yours might have 2, 3, or 4. You'll have a transition between each of the main points. So Goodman's lucrative career in law led him into his next major thing. So this is a cause and effect. This career caused him to have this career, or led him to this career. It's also a chronology. It's ordering it in time. I'll talk more about these later. Here's another transition. Because there's 3 main points, there's the third transition here. Now that we've learned a little bit about his role as mayor, I'd like to move to his most recent and perhaps most fun role yet. Okay, I'm going to preview what I'm going to review what we just talked about, and I'm going to preview what's to come. So that's a good transition there. And then notice there's a transition coming out of the body into the conclusion. Okay, so in this case, in a 3 main point speech, there's 3 main points. There's 4 transitions, right, that go between all the major parts of the speech. If you have 2 main points, that's 3 transitions that connect the introduction, the body, the main points, and the conclusion. Okay, hope that makes sense for you. Look at the outline. Just have transitions between all the major parts. All right, finally, I want to talk about the kinds of transitions that you can make. This is from a textbook called Public Speaking, The Evolving Art. It's by Koopman and Lull that you see right here. I just want this handy-dandy chart. You can hopefully dig deeper into it. Here are 6 functions of a good transition. Ordering. Okay, you can order the ideas of your speech. First, second, third, next. It's similar to signposting, but it's a transition. First, I'll review the history of the missions in California. Okay, so coming out of the body of the speech into the first main point, that would be a good transition. So you can use transitions to help you order your ideas. Reinforcing. Similarly, also, likewise, in addition, moreover, further. Okay, in a speech about how you can help your community. Also, you could volunteer as a tutor at a local elementary school. Okay, in addition to picking up litter outside, you could also volunteer as a tutor. All right, so transitioning from main point number 1, picking up litter, to main point number 2, volunteering at an elementary school. Here's the next one, contrasting. Contrasting is where we oppose the main points or oppose the ideas, say they're different from one another in some key way. We can use words like however, yet, in contrast, whereas, unless, although, even though, and instead. Here's an example. However, your best strategy is to prepare well in advance. Okay, main point number 1 was strategy number 1, get some good sleep. Coming out of that main point number 1 into my next main point, I say, however, a better strategy is, so I'm contrasting it with the previous one. You can use transitions to give a chronology or order things in time. Take a look at those words over there. During this process, you must keep a close watch on your time. Okay? Here's another example. After the awards ceremony, the celebrities then go to a reception. Main point number 1, awards ceremony. Main point number 2, the reception. So I'm ordering it in time. Causality sets up a kind of cause-effect relationship between your ideas. Therefore, learning to manage your money now will help you avoid problems in the future. Okay, here's another example. Maybe that'll be more clear. Now that you know about the problem, we must act. Okay, so this would be moving from the problem section of a persuasive speech into the solution section of the speech. Cause and effect. And the final one here is summarizing, which we've already kind of talked about as an internal summary. It's something that you could do you could summarize what you just said in main point number 1 as you're transitioning into main point number 2. Well, I hope this was helpful and that it can help you avoid hilarious transitions, unintentionally hilarious transitions that should probably be saved for sketch comedy. Good luck.